Hey everyone, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast, your go-to show for everything bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. I'm your host, Jason. Join me as I journey and explore the world of alcoholic spirits. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, spirits, and sips that make the world of whiskey, bourbon, rum, tequila, and mezcal so exciting. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another pour of a great conversation. Before we dive in, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram, X, and Threads at Dram_amateur and Facebook under the Dram Amateur Podcast to stay in the loop with exclusive content and updates. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey into the world of fine spirits, this is your spot to sip, learn, and share. So pour yourself something good, get comfortable, and let's kick off another unforgettable episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are packing our bags and we're hitting the Bourbon Trail, but not with a crumpled map and some vague GPS coordinates. Nope, we have a plan, a curated one. Joining me is Sam, the brains and taste buds behind Bourbon Curations, a custom trip building service for bourbon lovers who want to sip their way through Kentucky like pros. This isn't your typical travel agency vibe. This is a business born from a wild 19 distillery and 7 days road trip with his dad. And trust me, the story is as good as the whiskey they found along the way. We'll talk about how that trip turned into a business, why distillery tourism is booming, and how to make your own dream bourbon getaway without burnout. There's the important part. So grab a pour, maybe jot down some travel goals, and buckle up because this one's got barrels, back roads, and bourbon magic. Welcome, Sam from Bourbon Curations to the podcast, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, this was pretty cool, man. You'd reached out to me about a month or so ago and looked into your story and all that stuff. And man, it was pretty cool. And fun fact, and the reason why this kind of drew me even more to you, I've never been to Kentucky and never been to the Bourbon Trail before. So I was like, yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is my wife knows. She's like, she's like, I want to plan a trip. Where do you want to go? What distilleries do you want to do? And honestly, I don't even know where everything is. I have a kind of general vicinity, right? But I don't know where everything is. And I've got my certain ones, right? And she's like, starts looking at it. She's like, I'm already overwhelmed. She's like, I don't even know where to go, right? So I told her about you when you reached out. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm like, this is pretty damn cool. I got to talk to this guy, man. So welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that story. And that's exactly what we want to try and help solve and help.
That's awesome. All right. So we're going to start easy. We're going to start with the origin story and like the motivation to do all this, right? Because I want everybody to understand that this isn't just a business, right? There's a passion behind this. There's a reason this whole thing started. And I want people to connect with you, right? Because I think that will help to draw everybody audience-wise to that and say, hey, I don't want to live this misery of planning this thing out all over the place, right? So tell me how the trip with your dad, 19 distilleries in 7 days, which is crazy. That sounds like me running around Chattanooga going liquor hunting at 17 different stores in a day, right? But you're going to actual distilleries in 7 days, which is cool. How did that spark the idea for Bourbon Curations?
Yeah, absolutely. I always love chatting about it because like you said, it's a blast. It was a passion project that Bourbon Curations was stemmed from. So essentially, for a number of years, my dad and I have been talking about going to the Bourbon Trail. He got me into whiskey, and we love trying different whiskeys together, sampling, and he recently retired. And we were kind of like, hey, now's the time to do that Bourbon Trail trip. He was a CPA, it was pretty much his whole career, and tax season takes its toll on you mentally and physically probably. Not a lot of time for traveling. So we're like, hey, this is the perfect time to go now that you're retiring, celebrate. And leading up to it, he kept saying, oh my gosh, it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. He was so excited. And it was just such an honor to, be a part of that trip with my dad and to be there with him throughout the whole thing. And even to this day, he looks back on it and calls it a trip of a lifetime. But during the planning process, it was a lot. It was challenging because we did 19 distilleries. And just the time it takes, you have to go to every distillery's website. You have to see what the tour options are. You figure out the ones you like. But then you realize that some of the tours, especially the more exclusive ones, might only be offered once, twice, maybe 3 times per week. Okay, if you want to do that one, but you also want to do another exclusive tour, you have to pick and choose. And you don't want to pick and choose. You want to be able to fit them all in, and you have to account for driving times because some of these distilleries can be an hour drive from each other. Even if you optimize for travel time, it can still be a bit of a drive. You have your regions in Lexington and Louisville, Bardstown, and so on. So honestly, I had multiple spreadsheets with all the data I had written down from the distillery websites and was trying to piece it all together with all my Excel formulas. And it took hours. I mean, hours and hours of time. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like there has to be a better way because I know my way around Excel and programming and decent with tech. But most people that like to drink whiskey, I'm guessing, are not fans of Excel and tech and all that. They don't really go together. So yeah, I came back from this trip, just had such an incredible time, and I have a background in tech and business. So does my sister. I went more the business route; she went more the tech route. We both can kind of do each. So it's a great compliment. We both have always loved startup culture and the idea of building businesses. And I mentioned it to her. It's really funny actually because I made this like investor pitch deck just toying around with it. And I didn't tell her like, hey, we should do this together. But I was like, hey, I put this together. Like, what do you think? I was kind of curious if she'd be like, oh, this is really cool or oh, this is stupid. And she was like, this is awesome. No, this totally makes sense. And I was like, okay, so like, do you actually want to do it now? And she was sold. She loved it. Just the backstory with my dad and I and just the opportunity to help more people experience what my dad and I experienced because we had such an incredible time and knowing how much it meant to him and to myself and that it's out there for everyone else to experience, you and your wife and anyone else that wants to experience the Bourbon Trail.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, we it's funny. There's been so much discussion about doing that with different people, like my father-in-law and his brothers. They've mentioned about going. I've got a couple buddies that are like, we should go. One of my buddies already been with some of his friends, and I was invited. I just couldn't swing it. So like, and I'm in Georgia, right? So for me, it's only 6 hours, right, to Louisville. It's not that far at all. So it's an easy kind of getaway from a drive perspective, and then spending some time up there. Even if you spend a long weekend, it's really not too bad, a 6-hour drive. So but then hearing the logistics of everything, like you just mentioned, right? Hours between distilleries. Like you don't want to go to a distillery on one side of the area and then go to the other one and then miss everything in between. Like there's ways to optimize that. And you also make a really good point with the experiences as well. One of the ones I've really wanted to do is the Michter's where you fill your own, the Fort Nelson thing, right? But I've also heard that's really hard to get into. It's very limited. I think they only do on certain days for like only a few hours. And it's like, it's one of my bucket list things, right? And I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm like that, so like, then there's the anxiety that goes with that as a planner, right? Cause I'm a project manager. So like I have to plan everything, action items, everything's got to be laid out. And then you're right. If something doesn't fit into the plan or you can't get into it and then you're disappointed and you're like, you can always go back next time, but you really don't want to. You want to do it that time. So it's really cool what you offer as an opportunity for people. So that's pretty cool. And you lived it. I mean, you went 7 days, 19 different distilleries. So you got a flavor of the back and forth and the logistics of everything as well.
Yep, absolutely.
That's cool. Now when you went, did you guys do tours at every place or did you just stop in and visit a couple places? What did that look like for your 7 days?
Yeah, funny enough, if you go on the internet and you read about people's experience with the Bourbon Trail, you'll hear about a lot of people that just stop into the gift shop, chat with people, and leave. We didn't do that. We did a tour at every single distillery, and it was awesome. And I highly recommend doing the tours. It's obviously cool to stop by it and check out the gift shop. Everyone loves, a gift shop, but actually getting to go behind the scenes and see the production process. It's not like you're getting the same tour 19 different times, at least, in our case, when we went. True. They're honestly all different. They all have their similarities, but also all have their unique aspects that make each distillery unique and different. It was so cool learning about that. And I would happily go back to all 19 distilleries again. There was not a bad one in the bunch. That's really cool. Yeah. I heard the gift shop stuff is epic.
Obviously being on Instagram, watching followers on YouTube and everything, or watching YouTube influencers and things like that, right? I see story after story after story after over the gift shop stuff, the Four Roses, the Old Forester, the Mictors, Buffalo Trace. I'm not a big Buffalo Trace fan, but the Buffalo Trace stuff, right? Like it's
Their
really
gift
cool.
shop is a whole nother level. There's
That's what I've heard.
lines that form. Yeah.
That's what I heard. I think I saw lines for the Eagle Rare 12 that were ridiculous. And then Four Roses just did the Father's Day gift. And that thing, people were running. Did you watch the video of the people running up the hill to get in line at Four Roses?
Well, I did not see the video. I did see the release and would have loved to grab a bottle, but dang, that is crazy.
There's a video, and I didn't know it was Four Roses. Somebody had posted a reel, and it was really like put together like really well. And there are all these people like standing somewhere, and then all I'm watching is people running up the hill, and they have like this group of people here, and then they'll pan over to this group of people, and they're all in different stages, and they're going up directly up the hill over to the left-hand side, like people just running all over. Like, what the hell are these people even running for? I didn't even notice it was Four Roses. I didn't look at anything. And then they run up to the top of the hill, and there's already a line of people at Four Roses, and they're like, oh my gosh, I had to run all this way, and there's already a line. I'm like, oh my gosh, you people, man. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy to hear.
That was a 15-year release, though, they did this year, though, at Four Roses. So, and I heard the one they did last year was pretty amazing, too.
Yeah, that was really impressive to see. We have a couple bottles of their single barrel strength. A lot of times you can get exclusive varieties at the gift shop, but I think they're around 10 or so. So yeah, 15, that's an impressive jump.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So tell me, one more thing. I want to say, was it my only? No, I've done other distilleries. My only bourbon distillery tour I've ever really done is Jack Daniel's. Luckily, I'm only about 2.5 hours away from Jack Daniel's. And now I've done it 3 or 4 times. And you're right. I want to mention the process because you mentioned that if you go to one, it's not the same at every single one. These distilleries really put effort into making every single experience unique in some way, shape, and form. I mean, I've seen video from like Old Forester. I've seen videos from Mictors. I've seen videos from, I think, Wild Turkey and Buffalo Trace as well, right? So every single one's different. And if you compare even all those to even Jack, I'm sure it's night and day different. I mean, you literally walk outside to where they burn the pallets down to ash all the way down their entire process. So you start from the top and you work all the way down the process. So it's pretty cool. And these distilleries realize the tourism aspect of it all, right? They understand the value of getting people in the door, the revenue that generates from people there, not only from a gift shop experience, but from a tourism experience and a merch experience. And then people start to love the brand and blah, blah, blah. It blows up. So you're now a piece of that whole entire environment, which is really cool to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Funny enough, Jack Daniel's was one of the first distilleries I ever went to.
No way, really?
Awesome distillery. Yep. It was so much fun.
Isn't it cool when you like, so anybody who's never been before, man, it is this little, it's like this little hollow, like literally like this little hollow in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. And you drive down this main road for a while, and then all of a sudden it starts like narrowing down, right? And it's a little bit bigger now, but man, it's beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous the way they have it all set up, and the like the rolling hills in the background, and you're just like, point me in the direction of Coy Hill. I want to go that way,
right?
And then you think about all the warehouses that are spread across that entire county, man. That's nuts to me, right? And all that whiskey that's just sitting there in a warehouse, just waiting to be bottled.
Yep, absolutely.
It's nuts. It's crazy. Talk to me about some of your, so 19 distilleries in 7 days, right? Any of us that did this ourselves, I don't care if it was a 3-day trip. I don't care if it was a 7-day trip. There's going to be logistical headaches that go along with that, right? So like when you talked about your Excel file, big Excel nerd myself, we're cool. When you talk about an Excel file, how'd you do it, right? I mentioned the Mictors thing, how like limited I heard the Fort Nelson, like the bottle of your own experiences and other things like that. Tell me about like how like you did that and like what you found from a logistical perspective as far as the headaches go.
Yeah, so trying to plan it myself, first you have to collect your data, okay? So you go to however many distilleries you want to go to their websites, you jot down all the tours you're interested in, and some of them it might be 2, 3, 4 different tours you're interested in, even though they can maybe offer a half dozen plus different tours. Then you have to write down the different days, the different times on those different days that tours are offered. So already, I mean, 7 days a week, maybe 6 times, 42 different combinations there if my math is right. And then you have 19 distilleries. I'm not going to do that math. No one wants to hear that. You got, hundreds and hundreds of combinations you can create. And quite frankly, it was like trial and error to see
Okay.
which ones fit together.
Yeah.
And I would try to put, all the Bardstown ones together and all the Louisville ones together. And I failed because, you're going to get 2 out of 3 right. And then that third one you really want to do, it's only offered on Friday and you're trying to schedule Monday. So you need to rework the entire thing. And oh, that messed up your Wednesday day. So you need to rework that. It was hours. And
Wow.
it was just trying to figure out this giant jigsaw puzzle.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And did you guys drive between every single one? Because I know there's transportation that people provide. There's all these not tours, but just transportation between different things. Did you guys drive yourself around everywhere? Did you change the places you stayed? Or did you stay at like a central location?
Yeah, we went back and forth on that. That's a great question. We drove ourselves, which
Okay.
I highly recommend if you're planning on hauling a lot of bottles back like we did.
That's true.
For that reason alone, I mean, it's really hard not to drive yourself. And we tried to space it out throughout the day, all our tours. Because obviously, the number one most important thing is you have to be safe, drink responsibly, and so on. And I think this is the only time you can say that drinking at 9 a.m. is the safe approach. Because obviously, you don't want to have 3 back to back to back in a 3-hour span. So we'd space it out. We made sure to stay at an accommodation that served breakfast. So, get some food in our system, stay hydrated, make sure we're focused. And obviously, if we ever got to a point where we felt, hey, I had too much, that's okay. Just stop. Don't drive. It's never worth it,
Yeah.
Luckily, we did not encounter that because we did space it out. We would have our, 2 or 3 distillery tours a day over maybe, honestly, anywhere from like an 8 to 12-hour period. Okay. We would pretty much start at 9 a.m. every day. And doing it that way, it was, pretty easy to drive between them. We did factor in some buffer time because obviously traffic is something you can't predict, especially if you're not from the area.
Yep.
And we'd, hang out at the gift shop, drive to each distillery, get food in between, and it worked out great.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. Yeah, this is already like my dream trip. I'm like, I just have 7 days just touring around Kentucky, just looking at stuff, shopping, all that stuff. Yeah, that would be amazing. And I'm a foodie, so you add the foodie aspect into that too. And I heard, I already see your face.
I'm a huge foodie as well. Yes, I can relate.
So I'm already like, okay. Pair up all of that with some like, okay, where are we going to dinner tonight? Where are we getting lunch? Yeah, dude, I'm down. Like, I'm like, sign me up. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty much just 7 days of distilleries and restaurants and just having a blast.
I don't want to know what my credit card bill would look like after this entire trip. There's no way I would want to know.
Yeah, don't look at
I'd be
that.
down
That's
for it.
advice.
I'd be down for it though. It's awesome. So let's talk more about like Bourbon Curations, right? And the site and all those kind of things. So, and you don't have to tell me like your secret stuff because I don't want anybody to tell you, but I don't want anybody stealing it, right? But your planning algorithm, right? How'd you work through that? Walk us through what happens when like somebody goes into your website, pulls it on up and goes, all right, here's my trip preferences. Like, what does the algorithm do in the background? High level, not detailed. We don't want anybody stealing this because there's probably tech people listening somewhere. Like, how does that work for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to walk through that process. So right off the bat, you start building your itinerary and you'll kind of get your starter questions like, how many days are you planning on doing the Bourbon Trail? If you start on a Monday versus a Friday, that's going to affect what tours you're able to do. And then you're going to answer questions like, what's the maximum number of distilleries that you want to visit per day? This is a great question because, number one, everyone has different amounts of drinking that they want to do on the Bourbon Trail, both from an enjoyment and from a safety standpoint. So we let you choose that. And then also your group size as well, because some tours are maybe only available to small groups. Some you can have 16, 20 people on a tour. So then after that, you're shown all of our distilleries. Currently, we have over 20. We have all of the distilleries on the main trail, plus a few of the craft ones. We're hoping to expand that pretty quickly over the next few months. We have descriptions and pictures of all the distilleries. You select which ones you want, and then you're taken to the tour selection page. So for each of those distilleries, you see, okay, what are the tour options? You get descriptions of each of them. Which ones do you want to do? So this takes a little bit because obviously you selected 20 distilleries because who wouldn't? And now you're selecting each of those 20 tours. You're having a perfect trip, right? And then once you submit it to your question, okay, how does the secret sauce work? Don't worry, I won't get into the nitty-gritty details. No one wants to hear it. But it really optimizes two things, okay? And one thing cool I'm really proud of is that we wrote this algorithm from scratch. It's not, an AI black box where you go on ChatGPT and it gives you 2 + 2 is 5 today, and 2 + 2 is 27 tomorrow. And that was really important to us because having that consistency and that interpretability, that helps us help all of our users and improve upon it too. Because we don't want our users to have, this awesome itinerary one day and then they try it again, or a different user, and they're getting this itinerary that we aren't comfortable standing behind.
Yep.
So yeah, back to the optimization. Number one is making sure you're able to visit and attend all the tours that you selected. And this will essentially trial different combinations and optimize for buffer time and optimize for driving time. And that's kind of the second phase, is that once it has the different possible combinations, how do we fit these together in a way that will have you spending less time driving or walking and more time tasting and enjoying?
That's cool. That's awesome. I would imagine, and maybe I'm making a wild assumption, but I would imagine over time, distilleries change their tours, their times, all of those things. Do you have all that built in where like you're automatically pulling from the sites, or you have an API or something that's connected to that stuff and pulling that stuff in? How does that all work from that perspective? If something does change, or do you guys have to go in and search every single time and manually change it all?
Yes. So since we're pretty young, 6 months into this, and we only launched our product, probably less than a month or so ago, we're manually pulling it all together.
Okay. Yeah.
And, iterations on that. But our goal is definitely in the next few months, building those relationships with distilleries, intertwining to their APIs and so on, to having that be less resources on our end, and we can focus on building other functionality.
No, it's badass, and I'm a firm believer of just going and doing, right. If you guys have same thing with the stupid podcast. I love this podcast, right? I started one day with a mic and a freaking camera, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to record. Went through it. First season's probably not at my best, but like you evolve. It's an evolution, right? But if you try to perfect something from the beginning, what you're not doing is first of all, what you might be doing is you're over preparing, and you're not then allowing yourself the change in the evolution, because you may have over prepared so much that you're not accounting for the change. You wasted all that time, spent all that time, that what you built may not work, and then you have to go back and change something else. So I really like the approach. I think it's smart. I think it might be a little bit of extra work on your side right now, but I think in time that will pay dividends, because you didn't over-engineer something that just you have to go tear it all down and start all over again. So that's really cool.
100% agree, and thank you. That's a great overview of the thinking behind it.
I'm dangerous enough to know enough.
You nailed it.
So your website says you cater to both beginners and seasoned bourbon lovers. I'm going to say beginner travelers to Kentucky and seasoned bourbon travelers to Kentucky, because I don't know if I'm seasoned bourbon lover or not, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. How do you tailor itineraries for different experience levels? So let's say I'm a foodie, right? Let's just use me as an example. Hey, I want to go visit. I'm going to I'm planning 3 distilleries today, but I'm a foodie. So I need, like you said, I need a 9 a.m. tour. I need a stop for food. I need a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock tour maybe. And then, maybe do another one right after and do a late dinner, or maybe a dinner and then a late, I don't know how long they stay open. I would probably say another tour and then a dinner. So like, how do you, thinking of like just that kind of stuff, how do you guys plan all of those different approaches that people would want to take?
Great question. Yeah. So we have 3 different packages. The first is going to be your, pretty lightweight, just self-service itinerary creator that you get to do yourself.
Oh, cool.
So you go onto our website, you build it yourself, you select the distilleries, the tours, and literally you'll have a full-fledged itinerary in under 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
And you can take that and start booking.
That's awesome.
And I do truly mean under 5 minutes. And that includes the type of trip that I took, 19 different distilleries in 7 days. Mm-hmm. You can get that same itinerary under 5 minutes on our website.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's definitely been a labor of love and a lot of time, but we're pretty proud of it. And the thing about that is you have to go book it yourself. And while some people are happy to do that, not everyone's going to want to. So our second tier is you tell us your itinerary, you tell us what you want, we'll cover all the bookings. In case, let's just say there's any changes, let's say the distillery doesn't offer that tour that day when it becomes available, we'll change it for you based on your recommendations. Think cool. Of like when you shop at Walmart or Hy-Vee and they ask, do you want substitutions or do you not? We do the same thing, and we'll cover that for you.
Cool.
The third option is, we call it our VIP package. It's going to be hopping on a video call and really talking with you what do you want to do? What do you not want to do? Are there any special circumstances? Maybe those restaurants that we're going to try and fit in there,
Oh,
or even
that's neat.
researching restaurant recommendations. Maybe it's something like, I don't know bourbon. I don't know what Maker's Mark is. I've never heard of Woodford Reserve. I want to see really cool campuses and waterways, and I want to see awesome gift shops,
Yep.
stuff that you may not know off the top of your head or with a lot of research. We're always there, happy to help and give you that recommended advice.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I can imagine so part of the love of this whole entire spirits industry is the hunt, right? So thinking about even like stores, have you guys thought about like curating then special like liquor stores maybe in the area that they'd want to go visit perhaps? Have you guys thought about that too?
Absolutely. It's definitely on our kind of, different businesses to partner with
Yeah.
lists. Not yet, but definitely in the near future.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I mean, I don't mix the distillery tours and the hunting together in Chattanooga because I've been to Chattanooga whiskey obviously, but like when we go hunting for anything when we're in the Chattanooga area, I'll go visit. I started with I think the first time I did was like 25 stores in a day. It was ridiculous. I hopped literally all over the place. But then you understand how much time it takes. Then you start whittling that down, going, okay, small mom and pop shop. Don't want to discount them, but they just had their generic, the generic stuff. There was nothing really special in there that I might want to look for. I might pop back in over time. But then you start curating that list down to like more of like maybe the top 15 stores or the top 10 stores. And then when you're around different pockets of the city, those stores you don't visit very often, you go back into and say hi, visit, and then, check out the selection, see if something changed and leave. So I would imagine that's an aspect of anybody that bourbon hunts would want to do. I know my buddy who went up was like, yeah, we stopped at 15 stores and look at all the stuff I got. And I'm like, holy crap, man. I'm like, geez. So I think that's something unique that I think people would like to add into all that, because I think it's part of the passion that we all have is the hunt for everything and trying to find something new.
100%. And yeah, the gift shops on the Bourbon Trail are unlike any stores I've been to.
And see, I haven't experienced that, so I trust that I trust your advice on that one. That's cool. No, that's awesome. What I was gonna say something else too. Oh man, I hate it when I lose it. Oh, let's give the craft distilleries a little bit of a oomph here, right? I am a firm believer and supporter in the craft distilleries. I mentioned Chattanooga whiskey a little bit. There's one local to me, but Kentucky wise, and your Bourbon Curations one. What are the craft distilleries you guys connected with and do on the through your website and through your service?
Absolutely. So we have all, I want to say 18 or 19 main distilleries that you can select and do tours of. And I don't remember the exact number, but some of those popular craft distilleries we also offer. And that was really based on when we were on the Bourbon Trail, what were the distilleries that other people on the trail were asking about, talking about, wanting to go visit. So we have distilleries like Peerless, Yellowstone, some of the more popular craft ones.
That's cool.
And we're always looking to add more as well. So it won't be long before we have a lot more.
That's pretty cool. Is Starlight on your list? I hear a lot of good things about Starlight.
Not yet. No, but I've
Okay.
also been hearing them, and I don't think it'll be too long before they are.
That's awesome. No, it's really cool. That's really cool. I love that it's not just about the big guys, right? You gotta include the smaller craft distilleries in that as well. I think there's some great ones putting out some amazing products, and I think we need to give them the let's see, how do I say this? We want to give them the platform to allow, to showcase what they're doing. I think it's been really cool to see that and their evolution as well. So let's go into a little bit of feedback and maybe stories that you've heard from people that have done your service, or maybe even from you. So what stories have stood out the most to you? Maybe perhaps like unique distillery visits or traveler feedback that really highlights what Bourbon Curations is all about.
Absolutely. So since we launched less than a month ago, none of our users have gone to the trail yet. Since I'd recommend most people, when they're planning to go to the Bourbon Trail, plan at least 90 days in advance, because a lot of tours can become available 90 days beforehand.
9
some
days.
of the more exclusive ones, 90 days.
90.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say 9 days. God, I'd be stressing out. I'd be like, who's gonna get this thing before me?
That would be stressful. Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that either. 90 days is probably the longest.
Okay.
I've seen somewhere in that 30 to 60 day range. So yeah, not within that 1 month since we've launched. Sorry. Well, one more time there. So number of days. Oh, user experiences. Yes.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite bits of feedback was from Drew at Whiskey Lore. He's one of the Bourbon Trail best-selling authors. You can find him on Instagram, his website. He's written a number of great books on the Bourbon Trail and all the wonderful distilleries and tours. And we reached out to him because we figured who better to give us feedback on our tool that's designed to help people explore the very thing he writes about every single day. And we were talking back and forth, having a great chat. And he told me that he once did a trip where he visited 35 distilleries in 11 days. So I thought my trip was a lot. Okay.
Wow.
This blew me away. And his exact word was, it's scary how much time our tool would have saved him. And this is a guy that goes there all the time. I mean, I don't know how many trips he's done there. You scroll through his Instagram or his website. I mean, it's like every other day, it seems like he's on the trail. And for someone as knowledgeable and experienced as him, to have our tool save him that much time, you can imagine what a beginner, how much it would help them. And that was it really made an impact on me and was very confirming, like, hey, we're on the right track. This is going to help people. Let's keep going.
That's cool. That's cool. You mentioned the 90-day mark. So like I already had a little bit of panic when you said 90 days because I'm a planner. So I would be the guy who's like, all right, I'm 6 months out. I'm going to start at least look at kind of where I wanted to go. Like maybe even look at your website, right? And pick out maybe the distilleries. And then go, okay, cool. I'm going to do like this portion over here for 2 days. I'm going to stay maybe a little something central to this location and this location and optimize maybe my Airbnbs or something. Do you think, does your service and Bourbon Curations, does it allow you to kind of plan ahead a little bit like that and then plan your tours a little bit as well, 90 days out? Or like, what would you really, really suggest for someone who's an overthinker like I am?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say that 3 to 6 month range is the optimal time to start planning because you'll be able to get all your distilleries figured out and tours figured out before you actually have to book them. I know this sounds weird, but honestly, I'd probably focus on the distilleries first. If you care about which distilleries you're going to, and that's the main reason you're going to the Bourbon Trail. If you have a certain accommodation, then absolutely book that first. Okay. Just kind of depends what you're prioritizing. And then from there, once you have your distilleries, we're actually partnering with a number of accommodations that we've kind of vetted and made great relationships with. A lot of these bed and breakfasts that have absolutely incredible service, top to bottom, are going to cater to your needs. They have wonderful breakfast, pretty much everything a bourbon lover and a foodie like ourselves is going to want on a vacation. And then you kind of pick accordingly. And the drive time, no matter where you go on the Bourbon Trail, unless let's say you're doing just Whiskey Row, which you can walk to all of them, which is a great time. I love being able to walk to different distilleries. There's sadly going to be some driving time mixed in there. So whether you do a number of Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts or hotels or maybe just one, both are great routes. Just kind of depends your preference. When we went, we did just one, made sure I had breakfast and kind of planned accordingly. And you can do that through the itinerary self-service tool or that consulting calls. We help you plan it, help you make sure that you're hitting everything you want to on the days you want, which is especially great if you're doing stuff outside of the Bourbon Trail and all the wonderful tourism opportunities that Kentucky has.
That's awesome, man. So you'll even tell me where to stay. Okay, now we're down. Like now I'm like, all right, hold on. I mean, the good thing is I'm from Georgia, where we say everything's an hour away. So like literally, like everything. It seems like when you drive. To me, an hour now is a 10-minute drive. I grew up in Massachusetts, so for me, an hour here is a 10-minute drive back home. Back when I was growing up, so like for me, it's not that bad. So I would imagine drive times in Kentucky can't be more than an hour between places, or maybe up to an hour. So I mean, I would imagine staying, like you said, in a central location, like you were saying, and then being able to transport to everywhere with that time built in. I think that would be pretty cool to do that too. That way you're not jumping to different places and doing things. So that's really cool to be able to do that.
Yep, absolutely. I think the longest we drove was maybe a couple hours, and that was Green River, which is by far the most western distillery. Most of their distilleries, you're pretty much within an hour drive or less.
That's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's pretty cool. How have you balanced? Let me ask you a question about the technology and the people side of this, which I think is important because AI is a big thing, right? Everyone's balanced. Everybody in their day jobs or their life now is balancing AI and what they do for work or what they do for pleasure and fun and all those things. So how are you guys balancing the technology and the algorithm with the more human and experimental side of bourbon travel?
Yeah, because obviously bourbon technology, you normally don't think of them too often in the same sentence, right? So first and foremost, bourbon, it's a people industry. When you go on the Bourbon Trail, you're going to be inundated with just how kind everyone is, the hospitality, the experience talking with the different distillers, the people at the gift shops, the staff. It's incredible. And we really are trying to keep that in mind as we're continuing to build Bourbon Curations. Yes, it's technology. Yes, that has a cool fancy algorithm. But at the end of the day, it's to help people. And so everything we design, whether it's the layout, the questionnaire process, the calls we hop in, the booking process, it's all designed with the person in mind. And we want to give you the best experience possible, not some technology chatbot or anything like that.
That's cool. Yeah. One thing I've learned in life is that the people connection to anything you do, whether they're a customer, whether they're somebody that's just in a gift shop and they overhear, oh yeah, I get this whole trip got planned for me from Bourbon Cure. Wait, what's Bourbon Curations? Right? Like that's word of mouth and happy people. That's what keeps drawing to you, right? Into more of that connection. So that's pretty cool that you guys have that in mind and you're not just like you said, hey, here's your chat bot. Start asking it questions. It's already programmed to go look for everything. There's a people aspect of that as well that you understand from your experience, which I think makes you really unique, and I think it makes it a good service to offer to people.
Thank you. Appreciate the kind words.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about looking ahead, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about more like whiskey and personal stuff and ask you some questions there. You guys started in 2024. You guys launched then. Where do you guys really see yourself in 3 to 5 years? You guys seem, I'll tell you this, I'm very impressed. Like I imagine that you guys have a 3 to 5 year plan. You probably have a roadmap. Like what are some of those things that you guys have that you're looking forward to in the next couple of years?
Gosh, I could go on and on about the visions and the dreams, right? Absolutely.
I want to see the big whiteboard with all the stuff drawn on it.
Oh gosh, yeah. Which whiteboard? That'd probably be the next question. But yeah, so like you said, we created the business 6 months ago, launched a month ago, give or take. And initially, those first couple months, so much of it is the business and the legal side, just getting everything stood up, the domain and building the initial foundation of the website. And it's really been these last few months we've been able to accelerate that building process. So I know you said 3 to 5 years, but really I think there's going to be so much growth in just these next 6 months. That's cool. One of the best things about being a small startup is that your agility and ability to move quick is so high. And we're going to take advantage of that. So expanding the number of distilleries that are on our website, building those partnerships with not just accommodations, which we're already doing. We have some incredible bed and breakfasts we've been talking with and working with, distilleries, maybe exclusive tours, maybe exclusive bottles. I mean, the sky's the limit, and just exploring that really in the next few months, it's going to be so exciting.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I like now it's really cool to like get connected with you. So I'd say so early on, because I mean, if you look at your site and I've played around with it, it's very polished. It's very professional. So I can imagine, and knowing that you already have like this, you can put something together pretty easily. I wouldn't say easily, but you can put something together with the algorithms and everything. I think it's going to be really cool to see how you guys scale over time, right? And with that scale, how quickly do you do it? And like you said, 3 years from now, gosh, you may look completely different than even like 6 months from now, right? So that's really cool that you guys, it's good that you guys don't, it's just the two of you guys, right? So it doesn't, you guys don't have all these people you have to rely on. You have to look for utilization. Do they have the time available? You have to go back and forth with code. You know what I'm saying? You guys take all of that out of the equation. You guys are able just to go, hey, this is what I want to do. All right, cool. How are we going to do that? Okay, cool. Let's go execute. Hey, cool. Did this work? Okay, let's go fix it. Okay, now it works. All right, let's go. So it's like it's fat. Those sprints. Sorry, I'm a project manager. Those sprints are like those sprints are faster, right? You guys can put it to market and get it in front of people faster, which I think is really cool. Which is going to be better for you guys as a small business than a startup, which is awesome.
100% agree, and that's I think another plus two of being siblings. Is that we didn't have to develop that trust. We've lived with each other our whole lives. We know, we have a very close family. Think she's amazing. Love my sister to death. And just being able to have that foundation of trust and be able to take off with it made things go so quickly. And you're also honest with your family, as we all know. Yeah. You're going to tell each other, hey, this is a terrible idea. Let's not do this. It's great. No, it's good because it just expedites that creative process and building. And we've done I mean, I've been so impressed. I mean, we've kept things just great morale, great environment, very positive. It's been so much fun because we're working together, we're building something together, and it's exciting. It's so much fun. I always hop on, we chat, and we're building new things, and it's always a blast. There's never a dull moment.
That's cool. Now, does your sister live close to you, or do you guys do everything virtually? What does that look like?
We actually live in the same city, so
okay, cool.
Sometimes it's video call, sometimes we're sitting next to each other. It just depends on the day.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, with technology nowadays, like my entire organization's all virtual. We have pockets of people everywhere, but with technology nowadays, I talk to people in Argentina every day, in Brazil, in Mexico, and in Germany, and all over the world, right? So you guys don't have to be right next to each other. Benefit for you guys that you are, because you can sit down, mind map things out, figure it out. But at the same time, then you being virtual is not a negative either. You guys can do that, but I think it's cool that you guys are close, because I think it really. You guys can sit down and you brainstorm together and not just do it like we're doing here on a video call. You can actually sit down with each other and go, wait, look at this. Let's talk about this and do that together. The power of being in person is something pretty unique and special for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have plans to expand beyond the Bourbon Trail? Tennessee, Scotland, Mexico for tequila, man. I love tequila. Do you guys have any plans to expand to anything?
Definitely thought about it. I love Scotch, so you said Scotland. That would be pretty cool. I don't want to think about the legal aspects of having to deal with an international business. So we're gonna maybe put that one on hold just for mental health purposes.
Did you pay your tariff on your top of your fee that you charge?
Oh gosh, yeah. Then you add in that changing. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, we're gonna switch from that one. The one I have thought about. So I'm originally from California. I do like wine and everything. So Napa Valley obviously has been one we've thought about. But right now we're focused strictly on the Bourbon Trail. Definitely open to expanding. Actually, a funny story on that note is my wife and I were going to do a trip to Europe later this year. And we decided on Oktoberfest in Germany. It's going to be a blast.
That's awesome.
Originally, we were considering France, though. And being wine lovers, we were looking at the Bordeaux region, Champagne, and so on. And I remember Morgan, my wife, sitting on the couch and researching different wineries, and she looks over at me and she's like, I really like your service for this, because I have no idea what winery to go to, what these words mean, because sometimes the translation worked from France to English or French to English, and sometimes it didn't. And it was kind of, it was like funny, just 30-second conversations, but kind of stuck with me. It's like, okay, she likes bourbon, but isn't super into it like I am. And she's like, hey, I know enough about what you're doing that I want it for this French winery itinerary I'm trying to plan. It just kind of stuck with me. It's like, okay, we're on the right track. Keep going.
That's pretty cool. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's so what people don't realize if they haven't been over there, it's such a different experience. I mean, I've been to Munich, not during Oktoberfest, just after. The quality for beer, wine, anything like that is so completely different in Europe than it is here in the U.S. Now, I haven't been to Napa directly, so I'm not going to I'm not poo-pooing on what we have available in the U.S. But I mean, I've been to Lisbon and had some fantastic Portuguese wine. My father-in-law brags about France, that I guess that border area from Germany to France right there, there's those towns when you first come over the border from Germany to France, that whole region right there is supposed to be extremely special for wines and things like that. And he's told me, he's like, you would never believe the views. You'd never believe the people. You'd never believe the food. You'd never believe the wine. I'm like, okay, sign me up. When are we going? Like, let's go. Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, so you key in on something really unique, right? It's a completely different experience. And I think it's a unique one. So definitely a growth area for you guys perhaps as well, because I might even look into that.
Yeah, I love it. We'll definitely keep it in mind.
That's awesome. All right. So let's talk about some whiskey and distillery stuff, right? So from your visits, all these distilleries, what one surprised you most in any kind of area, production, tasting notes, visitor experience? Like, what was your favorite one on that trip?
Oh, great question. Favorite, I mean, probably have to say just all of them. I don't know if I could pick a favorite, but one that definitely I'd say stood out for being really unique was probably Rabbit Hole. That's located in Whiskey Row in Louisville, because so much of the Bourbon Trail is historic. I believe a lot of distilleries have, I don't know what the right term is, historic certifications or landmarks, etc. Whereas Rabbit Hole, they're kind of like, we're going to take the opposite approach. We're going to do everything super modern, try all these different finishing techniques. We did the Founders Collection tour there, and that was absolutely incredible. It's one of those kind of more exclusive tours I mentioned earlier, where they offer it maybe one time per day, I want to say. So you pretty much have that one slot, and you build everything else around it if that's a tour you want to do. And we tasted their Boxer Grail Rye, the Mizunara finish, which is a Japanese oak, the Ambarana finish, which is a Brazilian oak. And it was, like I said, totally different. You see all these historical distilleries with their, centuries old techniques. And then Rabbit Holes try all these finishes that
That's cool.
I had personally never tried before. So definitely stood out. And honestly, I could go through all 19 distilleries and everyone has something unique. They're all unique and incredible. And I go back to all of them.
It's the Disneyland for bourbon lovers, I guess you can call it that.
Oh, 100%.
Let's see. Sorry, I don't want to ask that question. Where do you see the bourbon industry heading? Any exciting trends around the craft barrel finishing, sustainability, visitor experience? You've been to more than I've been to, so talk to a novice about where do you see that whole industry heading?
I think the visitor experiences are going to explode.
Yeah.
Just as the bourbon booms happen, so now everyone's drinking whiskey. And now you're kind of transitioning to this phase of everyone wants to visit the distilleries and explore the Bourbon Trail. I know you mentioned it, how many of your friends and family want to visit the Bourbon Trail. I talked to people on my end, friends and family, and they're saying the same thing. So I think there's this bubbling up of Bourbon Trail tourism. And when that happens, distilleries are obviously going to increase the number of tours they offer and also the variety of tours they offer. Maybe your standard production tour is going to be a behind the scenes fill your own barrel, build your own barrel, in addition to the fill your own bottle tours, or maybe you're going to finish something yourself, more interactive tours. So I think that's going to be a really cool area to see explode in the coming years.
That's cool. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. So just going to Jack, right? 3 or 4 times now, I don't think those tours, those special tours exist. I might be wrong. So sorry, Jack, if I'm wrong. Correct me if you hear this. I doubt you listen. But every time I look on the website, the book, when I am going, I do look for something like that. I'm like, oh, let me look for something different. But unfortunately, I don't see that. And you're right. I seek those things out because I want something unique that I'm going to remember. I want that memory. I want that reason to want to come back and do it again, or say, hey, guys, you gotta come with me. I've done this. It's tried and true. It's amazing. Come do it. And that's not to knock the basic tours or anything like that. They're just as amazing and they're just as cool. But for some of us that understand the process, look for that more unique experience. I think that's really kind of neat that you think they're going to expand in that area, because I think more of that to bring people into the how behind, how a bottle of something like this is made, I think is really cool to be able to do that. So, I mean, just something with Maker's Mark. So everybody can't see the video. I'm drinking a 2022 BRTO2, the dunk thing. Remember, have you ever heard the whole Maker's Mark? Everybody searches.
It was awesome.
Did you really? Yeah. And you know how they do the whole dunk supposedly, and everyone searches for that. But just something as small and as minute as that, to be able to stand in the line for 10 minutes, right? Or maybe dunk your whole bottle the entire way in yourself, or whatever that might be. That's cool. People want to see that, or they want to sit there for 10 minutes and go, oh, they finally dunked a hole. I don't know, right? I just think it's neat I think people want to have experiences like that because it's core memories, man. It's something that everybody then comes back to. So that's pretty cool. I hope they keep doing that. I think that'd be pretty neat.
I 100% agree with you. And that was a big thing I considered when we were planning our trip, where you don't want to do the same thing that you can do at home. You want to have those new experiences that you can only get on the Bourbon Trail. And that was also a big inspiration for Bourbon Curations, is that when we list the tours, we're not only picking our favorites, we're listing all of them that the distillery offers, because we want you to be able to experience something that you can't experience at home and get, like you said, that once in a lifetime memory.
That's pretty cool. No, it's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so let's do some personal and unexpected stuff. So what's the most unexpected thing you've learned about the bourbon culture since your trip and launching this business?
I don't know if it's unexpected because I had good expectations about it, but I think it surpassed those expectations. And that would just be the community, how friendly people are, how welcoming, inviting. Us having this podcast, when we were on the Bourbon Trail, you'd be in line and chatting someone up. We met someone named Juno at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. He's, offering to give us samples and giving us our own mini tour of the distillery. And then as we expand our social media presence, we've, shared samples with people, and they're like, "Oh, you like this bottle? Here, I'll just send you some
God, it's
samples
awesome.
to try yourself." And the bourbon community just never ceases to amaze me how friendly and welcoming it is. It's such a great group of people, and we're honored to be a part of it.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. It's something I'm learning from this entire experience, starting out with where I started, and then jumping into podcasting, and then there's that whole community. So like I think just everything. I think sharing like passions, no matter what, and having an open mind to everyone's got their unique thing, right? Appreciate what they do, honor what they do as well, and I think that. Then the support of that through all of that community aspect, I think, is really key. I also think too that when did we talk about this? Oh, we talked. I was on a podcast yesterday or Tuesday, called the Smoke and Sounds Pod. Shout out to those guys. And we were talking. They were out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a cigar and bourbon thing. And they had he had his cousin there, and they were talking about bourbon as well. And we talked about somebody asked the question like, "What's the best way to drink it?" or something like that. I'm like, all right, stop. You drink your liquor the way you want to drink your liquor, right? I might not agree with it, but I don't care. It's you. It's your palate, right? And just because you like Makers and I'm like, oh, Makers sucks. How can you drink? Like, no, that's not the way it is, because everyone's palates are so wildly different. And I'll tell you, my palate's changed a ton since I've done this. I mean, I used to be a huge Eagle Rare fan. Now I'm just like, okay, Eagle Rare's fine. Like it is what it is. Like my palate's adapted and changed. So I think like the appreciation of each other and the differences that we all bring to the table, I think that's what makes it. And then think about it from a distillery perspective, the differences they all bring to the table, what they're producing. I think that's what really makes this community unique for sure.
It's funny you mentioned your palate change. I don't know if you're this way, but I'll have, the same bottle, and I'll have it, 3 different times over a week or two, let's just say, or maybe a month, who knows. And I swear it tastes different every time. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people in the whiskey community, they recommend trying samples. I almost feel like I can't take that advice, because I'll try the sample, and then when I try it again, it tastes totally different. Maybe that's just me justifying buying bottles. I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely me and my palate. It's different every day, which makes it fun.
So hot take, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna shout out Mr. Given on Instagram for this one. So I'm a firm believer of the neck pour. So do you believe, so like if you were to crack a bottle today and you were to pour it out and drink it and then let the air sit in it, maybe let it sit, like you said, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? And then go back to it. Do you think it tastes different, or do you think the neck pour tastes different than the pour with air in it? What do you think the whiskey changes with the more air in the bottle over time? What's your thought and your opinion on that?
Yeah, no science or anything like that, just personal experience. I think the neck pour is legit. For some reason, that first pour is always the worst. And let's say it's not my favorite, I'll come back to it and it's like, oh my God, this is incredible. So when I do have a bottle and that neck pour is amazing, I know I'm in for something special.
Mr. Given, Nick, we got 2 supporters of neck pours. If it's bad, give it some time, let some air get into it, let it kind of like, I don't want to say warm up, I don't know what to say, but like let it acclimate, I guess.
There you
And then
go. It
it
gets
changes.
better, right?
It changes. It could. So Mr. Given's gonna appreciate that one. It was we did a podcast before and we were talking about neck pours. He's like, man, would you stop with the damn neck pour stuff? I'm like, no, there's a science behind it, man. They bottle it, just shove it in there. I'm like, air changes the flavor. He's like, you guys are ridiculous. And I'm like, all right, we'll agree to disagree. So it's
That's
fun.
funny. Yeah, I
It's
don't know
funny.
the science behind it, but I feel like everyone I'll do, bottle shares with, we've talked about it. And I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. It tastes different. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta give it some time, right? I mean, even when you pour a neck pour, you pour something you haven't tried before, like you let it sit out for 5 or 10 minutes, perhaps, right? And you appreciate it, you nose it, and it might taste different. And so, yeah. Anyways, we won't go more to that. I had to have a little bit of fun with that. Lastly, so let's say when you're taking a break and seeking a true bourbon lover's escape, what do you do personally? How do you do things like what do you enjoy doing outside of bourbon and tech and all those kind of things?
Oh gosh. I mean, first and foremost, people. I'm a super social person. I love doing things with other people. Uh, Outside of that, obviously, I'm a big sports guy. I like
Cool.
to play volleyball, golf. I'm terrible at golf, but I do enjoy it, especially
We
the
all
social
are.
aspect. I know, right? Exactly. I have to, preface with that, or clarify, I should say. Big cook. I'm a foodie, like you mentioned. Love trying different, restaurants, but also experiment at home. Uh, List goes on and on. Anything social, I'm always down and up for it.
That's cool. That's cool. Favorite thing to cook?
Cook. Oh
I know, and that's hard.
man,
See, that's hard, right? You're like, I'm a foodie. Like, yeah, give me
I
something, like a
know.
little something. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah, because I'm sure you're the same way. I don't have the same thing twice in a row, whether it's food or whiskey. It's always trying something new, and
Yep.
that's the fun of it.
Yep.
But I feel like eggs. I know it's funny to say eggs. Like, why eggs? It's so basic, but it's something you one of the first things you learn to cook. There's so many different ways to prepare it and work with them, so that's always fun. Um, I love avocado. I think that's the
Yeah.
California in me shining
Yep.
through. So any dish with avocado, cooking that up, pasta dishes. We've done a lot of Italian pasta dishes lately, so anything in that realm.
Are you a make your own pasta guy?
Is there any other way?
Oh, see, damn it. I am horrible with dough, man. Me and dough are like arch enemies. And my daughter started to learn how to make pretzels. So she makes homemade pretzels now. And now she's experimenting with different types. And every single time I make dough, I'm like, I hate this. Like like I can never get it right. I try to make pizza dough. I try to make spaghetti, like pasta dough. I have an old recipe from like my aunt's great grandmother or grandmother, whatever, and it was or no, my aunt, I don't know, somebody in my family way back, and it's for homemade pierogies. So homemade pierogi dough, and I'm like, dude, I want to make it so bad, but I'm like, it scares the absolute hell out of me. So like, I have an arch enemy, and it's dough. So that's why I was like, props to you for making your own pasta.
Oh yeah, it's not an everyday time. I will say it does take a lot of time
Yeah.
and effort. Definitely make a date night out of it, but yeah, once you try it, man, it's hard to go back.
No, that's cool. I've had homemade pasta. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's cool. That's cool. All right. Let's jump into build it or break it. So this is what we'll wrap up with and have a little fun. So it's a new segment I started to do. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So what we're going to do is it's called Build It or Break It. I'm going to throw out some trends, opinions, hypotheticals, all these different things. You tell me whether you would build it, so like you're all in, or you'd break it like hard pass, and just give me a quick reason why. We might jump into a little debates on this stuff, but this is what makes it fun. So it's kind of like rapid fire, and I think it's kind of cool. So, all right, you ready to go?
I love it. I'm excited.
All right, flavored whiskey becoming a serious category.
Oh, break it.
All right. Wait, no more Fireball? Hold on, we all love Fireball.
I mean, if I want to have whiskey, I want to have whiskey. That's my reasoning.
No, all good. This might be a controversial one. $300 plus craft bourbon releases from non-distillery producers. I can name a few right now.
Yeah,
Really?
I say
Okay.
build it. I'm not saying like it's better or worse than anything else, but I think that's my reasoning behind it, is that I'm all for variety and more people in the space. As long as you're coming out with good intent and being open and honest, which I think is important, more variety and positive people, the better.
Cool. No, good. Yeah, and this is why I love doing this, because we have a difference of opinion, and I this is what the world lacks right now. So I'm gonna get a little hypothetical on you myself. This is what the world lacks right now. So too many people go, oh, I don't like his opinion, I'm not gonna talk to him anymore. No, I appreciate that answer, right? And I don't agree with you on it, but I think that's pretty cool because we all have different views on that, right? And I agree with you though. The one thing you mentioned, if they're transparent about it. Because a lot of the times they're not. And I would rather do business with a company that's at least transparent about it than not do any business with them at all. So I think that's a key aspect about what you said that I agree.
Completely agree with that. That goes for anyone.
Yep, agreed. Distiller. Oh, this is an interesting one. I didn't read this one, so it took me a little bit by surprise. Sorry about that. Distilleries charging for experimental tours with no samples. So like if they were to do like a tour like that was experimental, or maybe about like their experimental like hey, we're like Buffalo Trace has the cold storage now, so they can age things 50 years, right? So if you did a tour with that, shouldn't you have a sample of something, even if it's a quarter of an ounce? Like, shouldn't you try it? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'd say build it as long as you're transparent. We're gonna go back to that. If you make it very clear there's no tasting, zero issue. But yeah, if you're not clear about that, I don't I don't know if there was any tour we did that didn't have a tasting. Now,
Okay.
I probably made sure there were tastings for each of them, but pretty much all the tours have tastings. So yeah, you gotta be transparent, absolutely, if you're gonna do that.
That's cool. One question about the tastings at tours, and just from my personal experience, really like Chattanooga because when you went there, you went and did their core lineup. You had a special one, and then you had like I don't want to say an extra special one. You had something different. So like ours was their core lineup. They did their recent release, like they do those custom releases, and then they did like a barrel-aged gin or something like that that was really, really cool. So it was a little off-profile, but it introduces you to different things. When you guys went on yours, is it all like the core lineup and then one special? Is it all just core lineup? Is it all special? Like, what does that look like from the different tours since I've never been before?
It depends. So most distilleries, they offer multiple different tours, and the most affordable one is probably going to be their base lineup, just a simple production tour, and then you taste their core lineup, maybe
Okay.
a high rye bourbon, a wheated bourbon, a rye, and so on. But then those same distilleries will also offer more exclusive ones. So a great example is going to be Woodford Reserve. We did their, I believe, innovation inspired tasting, which was absolutely incredible. We recommend it to anyone. And we tasted four whiskeys that I believe went up in price, and the second one was double oaked. So that kind of gives you an idea. That's the second one, right? Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
when that's the second one, you're in a good place. And we gotta try the Baccarat, which is their cognac
Oh,
infused
yeah.
whiskey, which is in a beautiful Baccarat crystal bottle. I think it MSRP's for $2,000
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
So never expected to get to try that. That actually was a surprise. I knew some of the other things we'd be tasting. So there's pretty much an option for everyone on the tour, depending on what you want to taste. And I highly encourage a variety. If it's a distillery you've maybe never tried before, maybe their core lineup's the right one for you. If it's a distillery that you know and love, highly recommend the more exclusive tours. We're going to taste some stuff you're not seeing in your average liquor store.
No, that's awesome, man. Listen, I'm surprised. That's cool that you even got to try that because, man, I've seen it. I mean, we've all seen it before, right? I mean, I've seen it on the shelf for $3,000, $4,000, like all those kind of things. And you always want. I mean, our biggest question as consumers is like, is it really worth that? Like, though it's the cognac, the Louis Remy or whatever it is, the Remy Martin, whatever
Remy
the
Martin,
heck.
yep.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, there's a place by me that has like $300 for a half an ounce, or I don't even think it's an ounce. I think it's like $300 for half. I'm like, good. It's like a $6,000 bottle though. I'm like, is it really that game changing and that like life altering that you'd spend that much money for an ounce? It's one of those things I always wonder. But it's really cool you got to try that at Woodford. That's pretty sweet experience for sure.
Definitely.
That's one of those experiences like I would remember forever for sure.
Oh, 100%. I still obviously not forgot about it.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see. Hitting 6 distilleries in a single day. Build it or break it.
Break it.
Really? It's
Yeah,
hard.
well-
It's hard. It's really logistically hard, isn't it? Because you have to rush through and do everything.
Yeah, I think even the Kentucky Bourbon Trail themselves, they recommend 3 max. And that's
That's what I
assuming
figured.
you're driving, doing tours, gift shops. And a lot of that too is safety.
Okay.
If you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
6
yeah.
distilleries and you're tasting, obviously there's nothing wrong with not doing the tasting portion or maybe only tasting half of them or taking a small sip, etc. Totally fine. But yeah, if you're doing 6, obviously gets to be a safety concern. However, if you're doing that maybe on Whiskey Row, where they're all right next to each other, you can literally be standing at Evan Williams and looking at Michter's and Old Forester, then maybe. But for the most part, break it.
Okay. No, that's fair. It's a lot. I would imagine that's really hard to do. I don't know how the hell you eat. You just grab a hot dog when you're running around and eat in between.
Yeah,
when you're
I don't
driving?
know. I'm a big believer in the front loading the breakfast,
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, you gotta get that good base meal in for your day for sure. Curating bourbon trips outside of Kentucky, like Colorado, New York, Texas, Indiana, Ohio's got a growing thing. Like, build it or break it.
Oh, build it. Yeah, more the merrier. I mean, gotta love distilleries, and the more you can encourage that elsewhere and everywhere, the better.
That's cool. That's cool. I already know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Incorporating cocktail bars and speakeasies into Bourbon Curations itineraries.
Build it.
Yeah.
There's a number of tours on our website that already have that, actually.
That's cool as hell. That's cool. Yeah, that's one of the things that being a foodie, we always try to sit at the bar. Every restaurant we go into, even if we have reservations, if we go in, the very first thing we'll ask the hostess is, "Hey, is there a bar seat available?" We'll give up our reservation for somebody else if there's a bar seat available. Bartenders are gods to me. To be able to watch them make drinks, talk to them, connect with them about what they're pouring, anything like that is the coolest thing. To do that in a speakeasy environment's even better. So I really think that it makes trips and experiences really unique. So it's really cool that you guys have that as well. So
I love that. That's a great viewpoint. I'll definitely keep that in mind. And I can remember, even now before a Michter's tour, we had the Michter's cocktail bar, and like you said, it's just a special experience being at the bar and watching the bartenders work their magic.
Yeah, it's cool. And in Kentucky, the dangerous thing in Kentucky, they do pours at damn liquor stores. That's to me. I'm like, how the hell am I ever gonna get out of this store? Because and then you see some of the pours. I think there's one in down. Is it in Louisville? I don't know where it is in Louisville. I've watched. Oh gosh, who the heck is the couple? Anyways, shame on me. I don't remember the influencer's name. But anyways, they go in and like pours of like these amazing bottles are only like, I mean, they're still not, they're not wicked expensive. They're not like expensive like 30, 40, 50. They're 20, 25. So to try an ounce of something like that is pretty cool. And you know that you may not find a bottle, you may not have it. So being able to find something, see it, try it, I think that's what's really cool to be able to do that. I don't know if I'd ever leave a liquor store if I went to liquor stores in Kentucky that did that.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I'm with you there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, some fun ones. First one's one of my favorite ones. Blanton's as the pinnacle of bourbon hunting. Build it or break it.
Break it. Yeah, there's no pinnacle. It's whatever you like and enjoy. I do like Blanton's, but
can we all agree if you find it for MSRP, buy it?
Yep.
If you find it for anything more than MSRP, don't buy it. I mean, listen. I'm poo-pooing on people, and I've already said I'm not going to do. I shouldn't do that. But honestly, listen, us as people that consume, if you're paying $130, you have the money to do it. Good for you, right? But I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, just not worth $130. If you can find it for MSRP, maybe $10 over MSRP, not bad. Go ahead and grab it. Be happy about it. Go from there. If you want to shell out 90, 120, 130 and more for it, that's cool too, right? That's you. You do you. Just saying, you might be a little disappointed, depending. You're going to be happy because you got the little top. I remember when I got my first bottles of Blanton's. I was like, oh my God, I finally got one. My buddy bought one for me. Pints, Pipes, and Dram, shout out to you. But yeah, it's definitely something to have, but just don't overspend for it. You think people will be disappointed. That's the concern I have. So
yeah, the full set of Four Seas?
No, God, no. I have a bottle that I had for, 3 years. I just finished it probably about 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. I kept the topper, threw the bottle out. I have one bottle left. That bottle I bought in North Carolina when I was on a business trip. I ended up doing all these back roads up to this one liquor store that was 45 minutes to an hour away, then drove back one night when I was by myself because I was just doing work travel. And I stopped into the store, walked in, small town in North Carolina, upper North Carolina, started talking to the girl, and she's like, hey, I gotta go back. I'll be back. And she walks out with a bottle of Blanton's. She's like, do you want this? And I'm like, it's retail, right? I'm like, I'm in North Carolina. You can't upcharge for that. She's like, yeah. She's like, let me just call my boss. And she called him, and he's like, yeah, go ahead and sell it to him. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. So I bought a bottle for like actually, I think it was $58 in North Carolina, but I bought that like 3 years ago now. So it's like, it's been a while. It hasn't been popped. It's on my shelf. No one's been like, oh, open that for me. And it just sits there in the back. So if somebody wants it and wants to open it, dude, I will open it all day for anybody. It's just not something I reach for. It's just cool. It is cool to have, though. I will be honest. It is cool to have a bottle of Blanton's on your shelf. So
that's a cool story. I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Pairing. Here's a good one. Sorry. Pouring a high-end bottle for a total newbie. Build it or break it.
Gosh, I want to say like all the qualifiers here. I'll say build it. I would start them off with some standard expressions first. Build up to it.
Yep.
Don't want to just dive right into it. For example, one of them that I've done with people that are maybe new to bourbon is Michter's. You start off with their rye, their bourbon, standard expressions, which are phenomenal on their own right. I love them. And then if they like one or both, maybe try the 10-year rye or one of the barrel strength expressions. I like doing it like that.
Yeah. For me, it's a proof thing. I talked about this on Tuesday on a podcast too. For me, it's more of a proof thing. Like, I'm not pulling out. I don't mind pouring anybody any bottle I have, but I don't want to pour 135 proof or 130 proof or 120 proof, anything over like maybe even 100. All right, if you're a newbie, you might be blowing your palate out and you might not enjoy it. So what I want to do is, like I think you mentioned, and I agree with you. You want to offer the best experience possible because you want to get them into this and understand how cool it is and how good their amazing flavors and how you use it and everything behind all of that. So just shoving 120 proof bourbon down somebody's throat is not going to make them a believer in what we all appreciate. So I think it's more of building the appreciation for it more than anything.
Yep, 100% agree. You can have any bottle in my collection, no questions asked. Definitely want people to experience it in the best way, like you said.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool. All right, last question. Last build it or break it. Sharing your last pour of a limited bottle with someone you just met. Build it or break it.
Build it.
Good for you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Listen, like you said, we're all part of a community, right? We all want to do these things and share these things. I told somebody the other night, I said, the very first time I met my core group of friends here in Georgia, we went out and met for sushi. I knew one of them a little bit through Twitter. He brought his buddy along. His buddy brought me a bottle of Blanton, like a sample of Blanton's Gold. And I mean, for me, just getting back into it when I had Eagle Rare and stuff like that was pretty, I'm like, holy crap, Blanton's Gold, right? And then in 3 weeks from then we're at his house and he has like Eagle Rare 17 and he's pouring these things and that things. And there was no like, hey, no, you can't drink that kind of thing, right? It was like, hey, if it's out here, enjoy yourself, have a sample of it, try it, drink responsibly, right? But enjoy what I have and it's there for you to introduce to it. And I think that's something that because of them, I've brought that now into who I am, right? And how I share things. Part of the reason behind the podcast as well is not to showcase me, but to showcase other people and give them a platform for it. And I think if we continue to keep that kind of thought process and into the community and keep feeding that into the community, I think the community is just going to grow and get stronger over time.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously the whiskey's great, but it's the people that matter in the end, sharing those experiences, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, agreed. Well, man, thanks for taking some time out of your night. You said you have a wife, so you got happy wife, happy life, right? So I appreciate you taking time out of your night and coming on with me and talking all about Bourbon Curations. When I finally get my ass up to Kentucky, I will be calling you and I'm going to do like the VIP thing. Like I'm gonna be like, all right, bro, sit down with me because I want to make sure this is an epic trip. I think it's really cool. So everybody tell first of all, because I don't do this really well, tell us your Instagram handle, tell us your website, tell us all that stuff so people know where to find you.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, it's at Bourbon Curations. And then our website is bourboncurations.com. So same wording and everything. And I also encourage people to reach out to me directly, where it's DMs on Instagram. You can email me at sam@Bourbon Curations. Love hearing from the community. We're always looking to grow and improve our platform and just love talking whiskey in general.
That's awesome. No, listen, guys, Sam's been a great guy. Sam was ballsy enough to reach out to little old me. And I was like, hell yeah. And then Sam and I stayed connected and talked and everything like that. And Sam's been a great guy. So, man, thanks for coming onto the podcast. Super excited to get to connect with you. I really believe in what you got. I again, because I've known from being overwhelmed from looking at things. My wife, the same thing. I wish nothing but the success for you and your sister and your whole entire families as well. I think you guys really have something that the general public, the consumer, the influencers, the passionate people, right, and everybody in between, I think they'll really lean toward it and really start to find, once they start to hear more about it and find it, I think you guys are going to take off and explode, man. I really wish the best for you guys.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. A huge thank you to Bourbon Curations for joining the podcast and to all of you for tuning in, sipping along, and being part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review. It helps us grow and reach more spirit lovers like you. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dram_amateur and follow Bourbon Curations at Bourbon Curations for updates, behind the scenes content, and more. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to keep sharing this journey with you. So until next time, remember, life's too short for bad pours, so make every dram count. Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Dram Amateur Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our exploration of bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. Cheers, and until next time, keep savoring every sip.